my name is Naomi McLain, and I'd like to talk about structuring an effective bagpipe practice routine. When we started playing the bagpipes, we had endless hopes and high expectations for how we were going to eventually be able to play. But somewhere along during this whole process, we hit a point where we probably met somebody who, to quote Robert Louis Stevenson's Kidnap, we could say they have more music in their sporran than I have in my entire head. And it's frustrating. So what we might want to do is look at how we're practicing in an effort to get better. When we practice, we need to have structure. If you're just going out there and playing a bunch of tunes, we play Scott and the Brave and then Amazing Grace and just keep on playing, and then say, I practice, well, that's not very effective. So what you want to do is go through and get some structure in how you're playing. Having structure makes your playing more enjoyable because you are able to avoid the frustration that would otherwise come from playing mistakes over and over and over again. You improve faster. Habits of technical excellence are put together in your playing through this structure that will make it a joy to listen to, both for yourself and for everyone else, including the cats in the other room, I've personally used this two-step process in my own playing to help with my solo performances and my competition. I learned how to do this from my instructor, Jamie Holton, who probably learned it from his instructor. The two parts of this are practicing for technique and playing for enjoyment. So how do we practice for technique? First, we start with the smallest building block, which is the scale. When you play scales, it's boring, it's tedious, and funny enough, the better the piper is, the more they probably play scales. The professional pipers actually play more scales than a beginner would play. This gives your fingers agility and precision. Now, once you've gotten through the scales and actually not died in the process, you would move on to breaking down your tunes. When you play tunes from beginning to end, that's good, but when you break them down, you're able to focus on the points where you're actually having problems. The College of Piping Tutor 1 suggests that you play only the parts where you're making errors. That way you can identify and take care of those problems and move on to being able to play an enjoyable tune. Next, you would play tunes in groups. You might put all your marches together in one long set, and you might put strathspeys together, so on and so forth. When you do this, you're able to actually evaluate the whole tune as opposed to the small pieces we were looking at before. You're able to look at the tempo, the musicality, the overall presentation, and it also gives you confidence in playing from beginning to end and switching tune to tune. Another important part of playing for technique is practicing your blowing by putting your tuner in front of you and blowing one note. You blow that note for 30 seconds or so, and then you move on to the next note. This helps you to improve your steadiness of playing, and again gives you that confidence. Now, not all work, if you do all your work and work, it's very tedious and hard. So the second part of this structuring a practice routine is playing for pleasure. When you play for pleasure, it really doesn't matter how it sounds. So long as you're enjoying it, we're good. If it's annoying the neighbor or your spouse or, we're playing for pleasure. So don't listen to your technique. Don't worry about it. And when you're playing for pleasure, you've got to learn tunes that are actually pleasurable. If all you're learning is competition pieces and stuff for the band, you're probably not going to have a repertoire that's highly enjoyable. So what you want to do is pick up a tune, even if it's beyond you. One you're never going to play for me, you're not going to play it for a judge, you're probably not even going to play it for your wife, and you just have fun with it. Now, what does the schedule look like in real life? You have two choices, really. You have alternate days or split sessions. Now, when you do alternate days, you might do, now you see T is for technique, F is for fun. So you might do Mondays, say you might do technique for 30 minutes. And Tuesday, you might just play for fun for 30 minutes. Wednesday, you're a bit rushed, so you play for technique for 10. And then Thursday, you got plenty of time, so you play for fun for an hour. And so on, Friday, Saturday, and it's important to always take a day off for rest. Or you can do split sessions. Monday you might practice for technique for 10 minutes and then play for fun for 15. And then Tuesday you might play for technique for 30 minutes and just play in a hurry 10 for fun. and so on, again, with your rest day. And this gives you a good plan to work by week to week. It's very flexible, works out very well. Now this may seem like a lot of trouble, a lot of work to go through, but like my instructor Jamie always told me, if it was easy, everybody would do it. So the discipline is definitely worth it. Your improvement, your added confidence, your ability to stand in front of a crowd and think, I know this tune. I've taken it apart, I put it back together, I've blown for tone. I can play it in my sleep. I can definitely play it for this crowd. That's a good feeling. So remember, you want to practice for technique, play for pleasure, and enjoy being one of the few and happy who can actually play the Great Highland Bagpipes. Thank you.